Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I'm so excited to have all of you. I am Chaitra Vedullapalli. I'm the president of Women in Cloud. Very excited to host your future in cybersecurity during this cybersecurity month. I'm so excited to also see a lot of people are joining across the globe. So welcome, welcome. We are very excited to have you here today. So we are going to have a very jam-packed conversation so that you get to really learn about what's happening in the world of cybersecurity. We'll also have a lot of engagement with you. So this one is, think about like ask me anything kind of a session. We'll also talk about how people are preparing for SC 900 exam. So you get to really learn the tips. And then we are also going to share the gamification. So you can become the best cybersecurity expert in the world. Okay, so before we get started, let's talk about Cybersecurity Month. What does that mean to you? Put it in the chat for me. Put it in the chat. What does Cybersecurity Month actually mean for you? More networking, more information, and more resources. Fantastic. A chance to learn new things. And that's the promise today. Karima, you will learn something new. I have used to raise awareness of cybersecurity and practices around that. You will actually learn that, and we'll have a very interactive experience to learn about those practices. Acknowledging the importance of cybersecurity in all we do, make our accounts safe from threat, and that is definitely the top of the conversation, and helping others to be cyber safe. And it's time to be more about the cybersecurity space itself. So welcome, everyone. Very good to have you here. Coming to the second question, I love that you're all interacting. How cool is that? Now, when it comes to cybersecurity, what do you think the companies are expecting from their employees? Experience, absolutely. Engagement, keeping the information safe, not falling for scams, to ensure to identify and address the threats, to, if expert, then constructing a sound infrastructure and experience. Certification and skills, absolutely. The most skilled employee is the safest person in the company. So great stuff. Knowledge and continued learning, and informed about the emerging threats and how to mitigate. You actually have all the answers. This is fantastic, and thank you for being here to learn about it. What are we talking about? Market and insights for the security and DevSecOps. That is a huge market. That's what we are going to talk about it. Cybersecurity hiring needs. What is happening? Scholarships and exam prep, and transitioning to DevSecOps. What are the things you need to have in place? So here you're going to hear from a lot of the experts today. So let's go to the next slide. We have some really cool experts. So we have Cherie Griffith-Dunn. She's the CEO and president and founder of Crypto Tech Technology. She'll talk about what managers are looking at, what are the leaders are looking at. Christina Pinheiro will be from Boeing. She'll talk about what in the enterprise companies are looking at, and also looking at how to prepare for SC 900 and why is she doing that? Why is she upscaling herself? And Lydia will be talking from how to transition from one role to another role. So welcome, everyone. So excited to have all of you. Before we get started, I just want to give everybody kind of the landscape where we are. So let's look at the current market. There is a huge skills gap. And the skills gap you will see in all the articles on Forbes or Cybercrime Magazine or Fortune, that there is a huge workforce gap, and that's getting bigger. And there's not a whole lot of opportunities for people to get ready. And we are, at Women in Cloud, we are ensuring that we are creating that answer to the problem, especially around the talent development, around the cyber skills. So going to the next slide. So the big shortage that you're seeing is almost every 2 cybersecurity jobs in US, the third seat is sitting empty because of the shortage. So each one of you can actually fill the role. And then there are 464 open jobs in US just around cybersecurity, accounting for 6% of the open positions in US. How cool is that? If you get to go tap into that market, and those are jobs which are, anywhere from $70,000 to $250,000 jobs, it's huge, and it's a huge opportunity. Then along with that is also an AI talent shortage that is happening. So let's go to the next one. And in here, what we are seeing is, along with the cyber, especially with the AI, which is all driven through data, there's a lack of curriculum that is available. People are not able to demonstrate the project-based skills and credential to the managing a hire. And it's very time-consuming certification process, and people don't have access to money, or they do not have the time to go through these advanced skilling. Here are some of the job concerns that, among the cybersecurity professional. And when Cherie can actually speak and we can hear, we will ask her is what are the hiring managers actually looking? But as I am, wearing the hat of a hiring manager, usually there's a lack of skilled professionals in the cybersecurity world. They just have a lack of the terminology. They cannot communicate effectively, and the resources really don't understand all the threats that are coming. And because it's cybersecurity, when you have that issue, the work-life balance does not exist, because you have to spend hours and hours to address it, especially, let's say, your infrastructure has been hacked and you cannot have your website working or your email working, any of the stuff. There's a lot of lack of work-life balance. And then there's also inadequate budget for security initiatives, which causes a lot of stress in the environment. So when you're looking from a hiring manager, you're looking for the people who actually are skilled, who know how to manage the work-life balance. So as a hiring managers, that is definitely one of the things is we are looking for people who are skilled, who knows how to set the boundaries around the work-life balance. And if there is a budget issue, how do you have a conversation to really prioritize the top issues so that we can address it rather than waiting for the leaders to always answer? And also making sure there is a frameworks and terminology used for addressing that, okay? Okay, Lydia and Christina, welcome. And let's talk about what are the reasons that you are investing in skilling in cybersecurity. So I'll start with both of you.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. So I applied for the scholarship for a couple of reasons. I currently work in a platform where I see government, education, and medical customers every day. And I wanted to better understand how they are positioned with their cybersecurity posture, what threats that they're facing, and how I could help resolve some of their cybersecurity needs. The second reason that I took it is because my background in education was in criminology, criminal justice, and I would love to be able to integrate that into what I do in my job today. So really looking to shift from like the sales and management side of things into more of a cyber information analyst, cyber detective type role.
Awesome. So Cherie, talk through that. Is what made you actually take on the cybersecurity skilling? Because, you are doing really well in the sales job. Now you want to look into an analyst role. But what was the process for you to decide that particular direction for yourself?
For me, I see cybersecurity challenges every single day. I've seen everything from identity theft to DDoS attacks to ransomware attacks, both before, during, and after of it. So I've seen the impact that it has. And, cybersecurity is really at the forefront of everything that we do every day, whether it's in our personal lives, doing online banking or healthcare online, or working remotely, or working with my customers, I see where the need is all of the time and where there really is, as you mentioned, that gap in skills or training. And so really wanting to bridge that and be forward thinking about where I wanted to go with my career and what opportunities were growing and where the need was.
Got it. So, Christina, let's talk about you. You are at Boeing, you're at an enterprise company. Talk about what made you get on the journey to really acquire the certification skills.
Well, first of all, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. I know we have a global team over here. So Chai, thank you for giving this opportunity. And like you said, yes, I'm a senior manager for business operations, which encompasses everything under the operations piece, right? And I come from a project management, program management skill set. And the one thing that is pretty which is very affecting all the businesses is the cyber threats that happen, the ransomwares, the theft of data, privacy, or the private data that gets leaked all over the place. And in the leadership, when people are talking those terminologies, if I don't know what they're talking about, how can I report it as a BizOps manager, was one of the key things that made me want to apply for the scholarship and get myself upskilled, because without having these skills, I cannot progress further in my career. Yes, I have 23 years of experience. Yes, I'm in management. But if I want to progress more, I have to keep myself up to date with the current trends. And cyber theft, people are getting so innovative in how they target people, right? The companies, the data, and how. So if we want to keep up with them, unless we upskill ourselves, I don't think we can come up to their space. So that was one of the key things that made me want to upskill. And I believe in, doesn't matter which level you are, you have to continuously keep learning the new things that are coming up for you to be relevant in whichever market you are. So those are the two things that propelled me to take this scholarship and upskill myself.
Got it. And Christina, like as you went through the journey on saying, the role that you're in, are you seeing that the leaders in the organization are expecting their employees to get more knowledgeable about cybersecurity?
Definitely, Chai. I mean, if I look at it, without cybersecurity knowledge, without cybersecurity skills, I do not think we can progress if we don't have that. Because, like I said, you should know what you're talking about. You should know what is happening in the market. You should know what is happening within the system. And if you don't have the basics, if you don't know to talk the terminology, if you do not understand the terminology that they are talking about, you really lose out at that space, right?
Yes.
So it is needed. It is, in fact, I would say the need of the hour for everybody to get at least the basics of what cybersecurity is about. If not become the master, we should at least know the basics.
Fantastic. So when you think about, all of you who are listening today, is when you think about the security, there is a certification course, which is a fundamental course called SC 900, which is a certification provided from Microsoft as a scholarship for our Women in Cloud community. And as part of it, there is a exam that you have to take, means you have to go through a concept of security, compliance, and identity, and the capabilities of Microsoft Identity and Access Management solution. Then you're also talking about the Microsoft Security solution. And once you go through that, you actually get is your Coursera certificate, and then you get is a Microsoft voucher to really get that stamp or a badge that you have acquired that certification. So in the world, when you show that certificate, it is huge for you to really get into the conversations to help you secure the roles that you imagine, but it is possible, right? So now let's talk about the preparation, Lydia, Christian. Because this is a very long course. It is 6 to 9 months of this whole course. So how did you prepare? what was the process of this preparation? And whoever finishes it, I have so much appreciation for them. So Lydia, talk me through the journey.
Sure. So obviously the first step is just going for it, right? Applying for it, putting yourself out there, and just going for it. Once I earned the scholarship, my first thought was, okay, how am I going to make time for myself? How am I going to make time to make this happen? You know, I'm a single mom, I have a full-time job. So when I did was set aside an hour every night for just me, you know, just blocked out the time, didn't do anything else, just 1 hour every day to just sit and learn. And sometimes I could do more, but I knew that I could commit to an hour. So that was where I started. The other thing that I did is I am a note taker and I learn by writing. So I took avid notes, and every time there is a new Coursera certification, I go back and review my notes, and then I feel more prepared to take the exam. So that is the second thing that I did to make sure that I was prepared. And something that I always tell my kids that I had to tell myself was, you can either make excuses or you can make it happen. So how are you going to show up for yourself today?
Awesome, Lydia. What about you, Christina? How did you go about it?
Well, I would attest to what Lydia said, right? I mean, with my job, again, with me being a single mom to 2 girls, when I decided to do it, I was like, would I be able to do it on top of the number of hours that I'm working, especially across time zones? So what I did, unlike Lydia, I took myself a goal of 4 hours a week. And instead of putting it as a bulk, I took 3 days during the weekday. I blocked out 1 hour in my calendar. I actually went and blocked out an hour and I said, do not disturb on that time. And then I blocked an hour on the weekend on a Saturday. And then I blocked another extra hour as if I couldn't do something during the week, that's the time that I was going to make up. And what I did was during that 4 hours, I turn off my I turn off my phone. I turn off all social media and I tell my kids, hey, this is 1 hour. I don't want to be disturbed unless the house is on fire, right? That's exactly what I told my kids. Do not come and disturb me. And the reason I said I put away my phone and everything is otherwise some message keeps popping up either from office or somebody on social media pings you and you get disturbed. And then the moment you look at it, your concentration goes away. So that's one thing that I did. Block my time and make it a point. And if I miss an hour during the day, during the week, I make up for it during the weekend. And the other thing that I did, like Lydia, is I'm old school. I need to write things to learn things. So although the Coursera course makes it very easy for people to download the notes and the transcript, I did not do that. So I literally took notes. I can show, right? I mean, this is how I write, like old school. So the way I did was I would look at the videos and the course material the first time. So go through it without stopping. And then I would rewind it and do it one more time where then I stopped taking notes so that I can take notes. And that's how I went about it. So multiple times listening to the same material gets into your head much quicker. And for me, when I write, again, it stays in my mind. And the reason I write is once I'm done with the hour, the next day, before I start my course, I go through my notes from the previous day to see what I've done. So that's, again, another refresher for me. So those are the 3 things that I have been following very regularly. And what I've seen is with me being consistent, I'm able to finish the course much quicker than the number of weeks that they said. They initially said doing, it takes you 20 days, but with 4 hours a week where I'm consistently working, even though I'm rewatching the videos, I was able to finish it within 2 weeks rather than the 4 weeks that they said. So I think when we make up our mind and we are very consistent and we block our time, we can make things happen, even though it looked like, oh, would I be able to do this because there are so many hours? Would I be able to do it on top of my work challenges? But I think when we make our mind, we can finish it.
Fantastic. Christina, what I have done is I also watch when I'm learning, and there's always something I'm learning. Every week I'm learning something. The way I have done is a trick for everyone. If you have, you're going through it, is watch that and then see how much you actually remember. You realize you remember less than 3% of what they were talked. And you have to go back and say, what did they talk about? What was the methodology? What was the tips? What were the assumptions that were made? And what are the kind of outcomes, right? And when it's a tech course, it's much more, you need a lot of intention and focus to make that happen. So again, thank you for both. So Lydia, tell me, which stage of the SC 900 are you in today? And when do you see you're going to be completing?
So I am about 4 days away from finishing the 5th Coursera certification out of 9.
Okay.
So I should be done, I would say no later than 60 days. I think if I continue on the path that I'm on and continue to set aside that time every day. Like Christina mentioned, if you really commit to it, you can do it quicker than the recommended amount of time. It just takes that commitment and showing up for yourself.
Awesome, Lydia. We are celebrating that you're going through every course and getting through it. And we will be waiting right there when you complete that marathon to get your SC 900. So we'll celebrate you. What about you, Christina? Which phase of that journey you're in?
So I have started very recently, right, Chai? So I have finished the first Coursera course, and I finished that. I took the test day before yesterday. So I still have 6 more to complete in my first session. So I think for me to complete the whole thing with my workload, it will take me about 5 to 6 months. And I'm hoping I can be done by the 6 months.
Fantastic. We'll be celebrating, and Lydia is here at the end. Marissa has done a fabulous job in getting everybody go through it. So this particular certification really requires us double opt-in, because if you're not active every 2 weeks, your scholarship will be taken away, because we want to look at people who are really committed for building their skill set and ready for those opportunities that are available. Okay, so last question. Any tips for the people who are going to apply for the SC 100 so that they can take away? So Lydia.
A couple of tips that I have. One, obviously, just put yourself out there. Just go for it. I think a lot of times we hesitate or we get imposter syndrome. We're not sure if we're good enough. Just go for it is number one. And number two, once you're in, do pay attention and do really try to take the information in, whether that's rewatching videos, taking notes, rereading notes, because there are some of the testing is going to challenge you in a way where you're not just regurgitating the material, you're actually applying the material. So you have to think like you're in the role. So that would be my 2 tips.
Fantastic, Lydia. Christina.
Well, I would say jump right in, right, without thinking, and then you will figure out how to swim out of it. It seems very simple to say, but when you do commit, you would really make it work. The one thing that I figured out, which was very helpful for me, there are a lot of tests that come up in between, right? Like quizzes, pop quizzes that come up. And there's actually a coach option over there. And it asks you, do you want help to prepare before you take the pop quiz? And I said yes. And it gives you so many examples and scenarios for you to walk through. And that actually makes you think, and made me think a lot, right? And I learned a lot. So I spent an extra 15 minutes with the coach learning about the multiple scenarios. And I think that helped me crack the exam very easily, because when I did that over and over again, every time that came up, it really helped a lot with cracking the final test in the end of the module. So I would suggest, it looks very simple because the answers look easy the first time I took it. But when I did it with the coach, it actually helped me clear my module quiz at the end of it. So even if it takes time, I would suggest please go ahead and use that facility over there.
Amazing. Can I ask you for a favor? Will you be open for being available to the people who are going through the curriculum to be like their mentor or a friend or a buddy? Is that even possible? Okay,
Yes.
so you have both of them available to give you their time to help you go through it. So put it in the chat, how many of you need scholarships and you're in US today? So put hashtag US. That means I know that you need a scholarship. Awesome. So we have few, 1, 2, 3. Keep going, 4, 5. So you need the scholarship. So go to womenincloud.com/workforce and please put in your application in so we can make sure that you, and put in the right case statement of why you need the scholarship, and that one will help you get there. Amanda, if you are in Canada or any part of the world, you still go ahead and put in your application. We have some scholarship available, but the global scholarship also comes with the cybersecurity one. So go ahead and put in there. But for US, there is over 5,000 scholarships available. We already have 3,200 applications already come in. There's just a few more to go. So please don't miss it, and don't not only you apply, but bring in some of your friends that you can do it together, because it's fun to kind of go through that journey. So here are the US related cybersecurity scholarship. If you see that graphic anywhere on social, go ahead and apply today, and we will ensure that it gets approved within the next 2 to 3 weeks for you. Okay, so let me also talk through the process of what it takes. Go to the next slide. Is basically the process is very simple. You have to put in an application, and once you are approved, you're invited to the Coursera platform. And in the Coursera platform, you are given 2 weeks to register, and after 2 weeks, you are given 2 weeks to enroll. So you really have 4 weeks to kind of go through that. If the students are not enrolling or registering, the scholarship is revoked. So you will never get that scholarship ever again, because it really gives us a signal you're not ready for these opportunities, because these scholarships are $6,500 value for the entire year. Once you have accepted and you're moving forward, we monitor the progress every 2 weeks to see, are you completing at least one specialization every month? So that way we are tracking the progress with you. Once the specialization is complete, then you will get 100% free attempt for your certification exam. So that one will make sure that you can go and earn that certificate from Microsoft saying that you are cybersecurity ready. And that one will allow and give a signal to the world and your hiring managers or your boss that you can take on bigger projects on cybersecurity. And then we also have wraparound services. There are signature events like this, hands-on lab, and recruiting opportunities for people with other bigger brands. So we know that you have completed, so we can get you in front of the hiring managers. Okay, so here is a quote from one of the community member who actually completed the cybersecurity scholarship. She plans to leverage this knowledge to take on more strategic roles in tech leadership, helping organizations strengthening their security posture while communicating clearly about these critical issues. So this program has been pivotal in moving me towards the future. So just remember, this course opens up amazing opportunities. Take that opportunity to apply, complete it. It's a long course, and we are here with you. We are here during the journey, and then at the end of the journey, we are still there celebrating you, okay? So now we are going to go into some fun activity with Christina, who's going to talk about some, how to think about transitioning to DevOps, but she's going to really have is a game with all of you. So Christina, I'm going to hand over the baton, engage people on identifying suspicious activities that happen and how they can become a cyber detective. There you go. Who's ready to play? Just say hashtag play.
Well, thank you, Chai. It's a pleasure to do this with you, right? I know we're going to do how to become a cyber detective today, and this is where you will learn to uncover your potential on how to uncover security threats and to protect your valuable data. By the end of this session, you should have a taste of what it is like to be on the front line of cybersecurity, and we will show you how to take your skills to the next level with the WIC Skills Ready Challenge program too. So in today's world, cybersecurity isn't just for the IT professionals anymore, right? And with the rise of security threats, um, everyone needs to have a basic understanding on how to protect themselves and their organization. Today, I'm going to take you right to the basics, right? On how to think like a cyber detective and how to identify potential threats. And for this to be interesting, I need you to engage with me on chat, and only then does it become effective. Otherwise, it's just going to be a monologue of you listening to me for 15 minutes, and I'm sure that's going to put everybody to sleep. And that's not what we want to do over here, right? So what we are going to do, and I'm sure this is something every one of us have gotten to see it at least once a day, if not multiple times. So this is nothing new to all of us. All of us have received an email like this, right? Now, the thing that I'm going to ask you is to identify what are the potential red flags that you see here, which might indicate that this is a fraudulent email and it is not an email from your organization. So could I ask you to go ahead and put it on the chat as to what you think is the red flag that you see over here that makes you think it's not real? The email address, very true. Wow, Stephanie, you've kind of hit everything in one go. Email address does not match the sender. Poor grammar, and sorry, what did I miss?
The
Link
HTTP,
not well. Yes,
the HTTP without S.
yes, perfect. Wow. It's like I have, you know, I don't even have to go through the course. It's like everybody's taken it right at bank first step. You've taken this, you've stolen the thunder from under me, right? But yes, um, straight ahead. Reshma, yes, the link, official links, it doesn't use the official link, business logo or contact information not there, not Wells Fargo link. Exactly. Phishing attack, yes, it is, right? So here's the thing. Um, Thank you guys for engaging. Really nice to see that everybody's on top of the game. And like I said, this is something all of us have seen all the time, right? So the main thing to check when we get an email, especially when you're in the midst of your day where you're working on multiple priorities, you don't know which one is, and then you get an email like this which says immediate attention needed, or take action immediately. My advice to you, take a pause. Do not take an action immediately, right? Just to give you an example, my mom, who's 76 years old, a couple of months ago came to me and said, Kutima, can you look at this message? They're saying my credit card and my bank account is going to be locked. And I'm like, okay. She got an SMS. Poor mom, she's 76, she's technologically challenged. And I'm like, Mom, which bank sent it to you? And she's like, I got it from the ICICI bank. And for a moment, I got a little mad at mom because mom doesn't even have an ICICI account, but she was willing to click that link. And I'm like, Mom, do you realize you don't have an ICICI bank account? Because thank God she had the presence of mind to ask me rather than just click on that link, because God knows what would have happened to her savings account, right? So what happens when we see a message like that which says, if you do not do this, your account will be suspended? We immediately resort to it. So check the sender's email, check whether it is meant for you. If there is something urgent, do not respond to it immediately, right? That is my thing. If somebody says urgent in the next hour, next 2 hours, do not respond to those. Those are typical phishing activities where they want you to put in a fear into you so that you react to it without looking at it. Then any email which is from an official site will have proper grammar. They will have contact address. They will have a contact person. And if they ask for any personal information, definitely do not give it on SMS, phone call, email, nothing, right? Anything that the moment they ask for personal information, that's a definite no-no. Step back from it immediately. So going to the next one. So what I'm trying to say, the first step is always identifying if it is a suspicious activity. Next, when we realize it's a suspicious activity, what is the next thing that we are going to do? We are going to investigate what kind of threat is it? What is it going to do us? If we did something, what are we supposed to do, right? That is where we are going to do. So all of us have again seen this come up on our email multiple times, right? So if you get something like this, that you have, somebody has tried to have a login attempt, especially in my family, my kids have access to my emails too. My kids have access. So sometimes when the kiddos try to access it, it does give me this alert. But if I get an alert like this, what am I supposed to do? Can you go ahead and put it on the chat? If I get something like this, what am I supposed to do? Oh, okay. I guess we gave the answer out, but still, if somebody could go ahead and say, go ahead. I love that, Stephanie. Go directly to Instagram. Do not click.
I love the answers, Christina. Like we tease with the answer and then come back and say, okay, how do you
I wish I could use Instagram when I'm at office, but Stephanie, thank you. That's a good way to take a deep breath, right? But yes, if we get this, what are the 3 things at least that we are supposed to do? Could somebody take a stab at it? Okay, so first check in the login history, right? I mean, there are times where you get weird things like I'm in Bangalore and it will say somebody in Seattle logged into my account. How is it even possible when I'm physically here and my kids are in the same house as me? Verify what is the IP address that it came. Now, if you're in the office system, what do, right? And why do we contact IT support? Why do you think we need to contact IT support? Could somebody put it in the chat for me as to why we need to contact IT support? So they are aware of a breach. Exactly. Crystal, you hit the nail on the head. To alert them, yes. So why do we need to let them know that there was a breach or an alert? What can they do when that happens? Or what will they do? Whistleblower. Awesome. There's more technique. Reset password, warn people about possible threat. Exactly. Crystal, again, you caught it right on the, how do I say, right by the thread. That's the perfect thing, right? Yes. So what are we supposed to do when that happens? When there is a breach that has happened, first thing is change the password. That is exactly true. And the second thing, my first thing I would say is you also report to the IT support. Why do we report it? So that they can take whatever needs to be done. Exactly, Amanda. That was exactly what I was also looking for. Disconnect from the network. Yes, when you're in a network, if your personal system has been hacked, then taking your system out of the network is the best way. The mistake that most of us do is when we click on a link, which could be a phishing link, and then we have gotten that into our system, we think if we delete it, then that takes care of the problem. But what happens is that once it gets into the network, if it is not isolated and if we do not take it out of the network, it can easily go to the other systems, right? Exactly, in order to prevent lateral movement. That is why we tell IT people so that they can take the necessary steps that they need to do so that we can prevent any more leakage. We can prevent them from getting into our system completely, and we can prevent them by completely bringing us down where we cannot do any work. The second thing is change your passwords. And third, if possible, enable a two-factor authentication. I agree that two-factor authentication might not be possible in a corporate scenario because most of the times you cannot have your OTP coming to your email or to your phone. So that is a thing that I would say do it for your personal laptops and into your personal devices, but your corporate laptop or corporate devices might not give you that option based on what their security system is. But it's always nice to have the two-factor enabling authentication. Next, report to IT, and educating others is if you think you have clicked on something that could have been a phishing thread, phishing link, please let the others know that you got an email, right? Yes, deleting it from yours is not enough because somebody else might get a similar email and they might not be as vigilant as you are to make sure that they look at all the red flags. So if you see something, do not forward this email. Please do not do that. That's not what I'm telling you. Delete that email, but let them know, hey, this is the kind of email that I got. So please keep a watch out and be vigilant about it, is what we are saying when we say educate others, right? So
Christina, this one was fun. Did you all have fun going through the process and playing a game on how to even detect an intrusion? Excellent. Okay, with that one, Christina, I want to thank you for being here and educating. And I want to have a question for all of the members today. Who in the room has a desire to become a cyber detective? I know Andrea has already started with an emoji. Find an emoji and put it for me. Who wants to be a cyber detective? I already have Annie who says she wants to be. Renee, who wants to be? Okay, Renisha loves it. There you go. Excellent. So we have partnered with KC7 Foundation, and they have built this amazing cyber detective game, which allows you to go through that entire experience. So one is a scandal in Valdoria. So you get to go for the first time. You don't need any cybersecurity experience to do this module. In this time, it's a perfect place for you to go and find out what is happening in the scandal in Valdoria, and you get to detect that one from a cybersecurity challenges, especially around the election process, because now we are in the middle of election. So you get to kind of experience. The second one is Encryptodera, which is around focusing on, it's a new hard financial company specializing in fancy fintech like cryptocurrency, blockchain, and payment gateways. So you'll go through this entire experience to go find the issues and solve it. Literally, it gives you the tools, and it's so addictive, you have to go through it. The third one is the Solvi Systems. They are a software company and is a key player for the South Africa energy industry. And you get to really investigate an intrusion against the Solvi system and find out how the attackers have leveraged their access to discover vulnerabilities in the docs software. Okay, so apply for the cybersecurity opportunity, and this one will give you access for you to get into the cyber detective game. And once you go through the process and you achieve your points, you will be a cyber security detective in our ecosystem. Again, this was a fun project for all of you. So I wanted to kind of ensure that you got how to prepare for SC900. You know what managers are looking for. You know how to apply for scholarship. There are a few questions that we had. One is, first of all, before I go into Q&A, do you all have 5 more minutes before we wrap it up? Say yes in the chat. Okay. So Carolina, if you can take the slides down, I just want people on the screen, which is fantastic. Okay, so did you enjoy, Lydia, the game? Christina did fabulous work to engage all of us during the Cybersecurity Awareness Month.
She did excellent.
I learned something new too. I've gone through this one multiple times, but I learn every time when someone is teaching, because it's a very new way to look at the world from a detective perspective. Okay, so there are a few questions that have come in. The first one is, what transferable skills from non-cyber careers can be highlighted on the resume? Lydia, are you looking at that, and do you have any guidance on that?
I have looked at that. I think there's, depending on your background, there's definitely different things, right? Attention to detail can be very helpful in cybersecurity. Your executive presence, how you show up, your willingness to continue to learn and be flexible, work-life balance, as you mentioned earlier. Those are all transferable skills that can come from various different backgrounds and not just from a cyber background.
Got it, got it. Anything, Christina, you want to add?
The one thing I think most of us look for, at least from a management, is how willing are you to learn a new skill, right? I think if you have that, then that's the game.
Fantastic. So this one is a very interesting question that where people are asking is, any tips you fall behind or get stuck in the SC 900 process? How can they come back and then start to really work on it?
So for me personally, like I mentioned earlier, I really try to commit to that 1 hour a day. And something that Christina mentioned that I've also done is if I miss, for some reason, there's something that takes away that hour, I add that hour back in somewhere else. So I find a spot, block that out, and add that back in and continue to move on and move forward.
Absolutely. And Christina?
Well, I can give a personal example what happened to me last week, because we had so many things happening with work that I couldn't study for 4 days. So what I had to do was, during the weekend and this week, the thing that I did was I cut down my social media time to make up for the classes that I had missed. It meant I kind of had to give up something which was my guilty pleasure, but then I had to realize that if I took too much of a break, it was going to get very difficult. So as difficult as it was, I did that. I would just say, if you get stuck, try and start, maybe leave that chapter, go to the next one and start that, and then come back to that place where you're struggling. That's another tip that I would say to do, but make sure that you're consistent. If you have decided to commit 3 hours a week, even if you can't do it over 3 days, make it up on 1 day.
Very well said. There's this question is amazing question. It's by Stephanie. How do you highlight your willingness to learn a new skill on your resume? Such a good question, Stephanie. Do you have any answers to it? I have an answer, but I don't think I have the right answer. How would you see, as a manager or someone who will look at the resume and they have a willingness to learn a new skill? Think about it. But here's how, Stephanie, how I look at it. When I'm looking at a resume, I'm looking at, do they have extracurricular experiences? That means they love dance. Do they love music? Do they love a game that they play? Or they are in a community that they are contributing? Because when you are in a community and doing something like a project, are they part of a nonprofit board? Because at that time you have to learn a lot. So it kind of is a signal on how you tell on your resume. I also look at someone who actually talks from a framework that I have created a framework and helped X many people to get access to this particular program or solution. So it also shows generosity, because learning a new skill and giving a new skill into a community, that shows that not only you can learn, but also you can transfer the skill in developing others. That is something kind of I look on the resume. And in the interview process, I usually say, in 5 minutes, what is one skill that you can teach me today? And if they cannot teach me something, usually they cannot do the work. Like literally everybody on my team knows that I ask that question all the time, is give me something that you have taught. Like I had someone on my team who taught me piñata, how to create a piñata out of paper. Someone taught me how to create a Vietnamese dish, which is an eclectic dish. Someone taught me how to plan for a marathon. So those are the kind of things that we look for. Is that helpful, Stephanie? I don't think I have an answer, but that's just kind of how I look for it. Christina, Lydia, have you seen anything, or how do you add that experience on your resume?
So I can go with this question and give you what I look for when I do interviews, right? When I look at resumes that I'm shortlisting. Like you said, I look at what initiatives they take part, right? Apart from all the job listing that they've done, I look at what initiatives that they take part in. And then I see all the certifications that they have mentioned. And I see whether, okay, here's the thing. I do not see what certification it is. I see which years they have done it, because sometimes you would list 10 certificates which are done in 1 year, and then there's a gap where you have not done anything for the next 10 years. Then that kind of means that, you've kind of figured out what your niche skill is and you're not going out of your skill set. So that is what I look. I don't look for what certificate. I see the years that they have done the certificate, because then that shows me that they are continuously learning and they're learning new things. So I look at the years, and when I interview them, I ask them, what is it that they learned new in the last 2 years? So that lets me know whether they're up to learning something new, because there are some people who are very technical and who just want to stick to that one particular path. When they want to become a tech fellow, yes, then that's a different thing. So that's how I look at it.
Awesome. Lydia, anything to add, or?
I completely agree. In fact, that's what I was going to say in the past when I've been in hiring. That's exactly what I've looked for, was the certifications, what the gap was, and then also, Chaitra, what else they're involved in outside. One thing that I can say for myself, and something that I always say, is that, if I'm not learning, then I'm doing something wrong, because I learn something new every single day that I'm, here, whether it's at work or outside of work, and outside of work, I coach girls basketball. I've done it for 10 years, and every season, every practice, every game, I learn something new from the girls, just as much as they're learning from me. So
again, ladies, thank you so much for inspiring all of us, keeping the experience very gamified today. I enjoyed learning a lot about how you are navigating the SC 900 and preparing. So good luck on that journey. And everyone who spent time with us today, thank you for being patient as we were hearing glitches and network down. Everything was like not in our favor today, but we came through. That shows that we have a resilience and we are a team and we can work through it. So thank you for being here. So there's last one question before we wrap. What is one takeaway? What was your one takeaway and one action you will take in the next 1 week? Put it in the chat for us. So Miriam says, I'm motivated, inspired, I'm sure, scaling through and taking a lot away from this session. Thank you for the panel. So thank you, Lydia. Thank you, Christina. So very happy. Thank you to all. One takeaway and one action you will take. We'll take more notes. Yes, that is a beautiful skill to have. It materializes everything in your mind. Consistency and taking notes. Upcoming talks to keep an eye for on October 30th with the How to Become a Detective, in November 5th, Aspiration to Actions, and also update my resume to highlight that. And I'm going to apply for the scholarship. I'll make sure I'll join in more community activates. Go for it, irrespective of your doubt. We'll practice more. And we will have these sessions, which is Ask Me Anything. We are making the sessions more interactive, so you're learning as you're listening. So with that one, I'm going to say have a great weekend. And thank you to all of you for being here. And Lydia, Christina, thank you. Cherie, we tried the best. We are going to have you back again. Hopefully that time you have a very good network access. With that, good luck on the SC900 journey. Thank you all for being here today.